Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Uh, Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. And we are playing some Assassin's Creed Odyssey this week. Of course. You knew that was coming. So yeah, it's good. It is a good game. I didn't really play Assassin's Creed Origins, which is kind of surprising considering it was Egyptian themed and I like that. But I don't know, it came out on the same day as some other stuff I remember, and I don't know. I just never really got into it for whatever reason. But this one, like, if you just play Assassin's Creed like 2 or something, and then you jump to this one, it's like, holy shit, what happened to this series? This is incredibly different. I think overall this series has improved quite a bit. Because it's impressive that this is like the nth game in the series, and it's really good. And it feels pretty fresh. That's pretty impressive. But I think sort of the approach that they had in the earlier games, yeah, I mean, things were eventually going to get stale. So the big open world, I mean, look at the map for this game. Look at the map. Like, I'm running around this one region here, and I've been here for a while now. A good few hours. But, like, look at all this shit you can go to, all those islands and stuff, and look at this. Look at this huge continent here, whatever. Not a continent, you know what I'm saying. This big-ass region here, there's just so much to do. And you can just run around. And just run around and do shit. And you can sail around, and you got all these side quests, and you've got, you can commit crimes, and then you got, like, bounty hunters coming after you, so it's kind of like, the Nemesis system from, the Shadow Lord of the Ring games, which is pretty cool, and you can pay off your bounty, you know, you can bribe people, or you can just kill the mercenaries that are coming after you, or you can kill the guy that's paying the mercenaries. And then it's just like, well, fuck it, we're not going after this person for no money. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got, like, all the inventory and equipment. Like, look at this. This is some RPG shit here. Helmets and torsos and waists and legs. And it's just all the different types of weapons. I mean, I obviously don't have all the types to show you, but you got daggers, and you got heavy bladed weapons and heavy blunt weapons and spears and staffs, and you got your bow, and then you got the ability trees. Look at all this stuff. You can build your character to be more of a warrior or more of an assassin, or you can go for the bow strategy. You know, you can build it how you want. I've found what I really like is this one right here. This Hero Strike ability, which you can use in combat, and it does like a certain percentage of your assassin damage, because if you look over here, you see you've got different numbers for your different types of damage. So this is like your bow damage, this is like your melee combat damage, and then your assassin damage, which is used for assassinating people, because it's not like the old games where as long as you come up behind somebody, you can just kill them. You know, it's all number based, so you might not kill them, you might just do a bunch of damage. So you want to get this high so you can guarantee kill people. So that number is obviously a lot higher than the other stuff, because it's used for one-shot kills, hopefully. But this lets you use that damage in combat. And so, yeah, I've been ripping and tearing with that shit. So, yeah, it's really cool. And then, of course, you get your ship, and you can build up and upgrade your ship and do all sorts of stuff with that. And you get lieutenants for your ship that modify different numbers. And it's a number game now. It's very RPG-ish, which is... I mean, that's where the industry's at this point. So, it's not like a super shock that this is where they went to. But it's all done pretty well. I'm overall fairly happy with how the game works. The only complaint that I might have is that levels maybe play too much of a role in how things work out. You know, just coming from like a Dark Souls perspective, where you can beat the game at level 1, that would like... I don't see that ever happening in this game. You would have to be the god among gods, I think. Because even enemies that are like 2 levels higher than you or something like that can really just wreck you. It's really difficult. And so, especially because assassinations are not guaranteed one-shot kills. So it's not like, oh, if I'm just really sneaky and really good, I can kill anything. No. You will just do, like, a tenth of their health or something with an assassination. And then that'll be it. I don't want to do that, because that's main story stuff. What else was I gonna say? So, anyway, yeah, it feels sometimes kind of like, The Division, where it's like, okay, this is a human person that I'm fighting. This is a human enemy. And I'm like, I just stabbed them through the neck, and they have like 90% of their health left. And it's like, okay, I guess they're not normal humans. But I'm certainly a normal human, because they can just club me over the head and I'm instantly dead. So it's sort of like this weird disconnect that I don't love. But as long as you know, sort of do everything, you'll be at the right level or above their level. And so normally it's not that big of a problem, but... yeah, so... What was the other thing I was going to just say? I was going to say something. Oh, the quest, the main story. It feels like, now I'm not saying this is how it is, because I don't know, but it feels like you have some like pretty big choices to make in the main storyline. Like, it feels like there are junctions where the story can go in really different directions based on your choice. Now, I'm not saying that there are big choices. I'm saying it feels like there are big choices. Since, you know, there are dialogue options and things like that, you get to make choices. I don't know what happens if I had chosen differently. I don't know if it would have just sort of like looped around and it would have ended up in the same outcome anyways. But the way that it feels like you're making these huge, big choices in this game is like, wow, I'm really, like, changing the course of the story here with these decisions. That feels really good. I think they got that really good. Now, it would be really, really cool if they actually are big choices and the main story can go in a lot of different ways, majorly. That would be really, really cool. But just for the fact, you know, for a single playthrough, the fact that it feels really big is generally good enough. I mean, maybe at some point down the line, I'll play through this whole game again, but I usually don't replay Assassin's Creed games. So, as long as it feels awesome for the one playthrough, we're okay. Here, I can kill a bear. Yeah, you get to use that stealth ability thing. on animals. It's good.
Awful. Who would drink an elixir made from this?
Yeah, so you can pick at the start of the game whether you want to play as a guy or a girl. From what I understand, there's absolutely no difference. There's a few dialogue things, I think, from the main character that are different. I mean, obviously, she mentions, like, she refers to herself as a woman. I don't think the guy refers to himself as a woman. But other than that, there's no difference. And it's not like there needs to be a difference. I think it's good. It's nice enough that you're allowed to pick what you want to play as. Oh my god, what the fuck is happening? Oh god. Kick that one. Get out of here with your bow. My god, I'm on fire. Guys with their bows. Yeah, so I went with female. Because since it doesn't matter at all, I'd rather just look at a female character than a male one. Yeah, it's not like I'm trying to live out this male fantasy of, oh, look, I want to play as the big masculine guy, because I can imagine myself as the big masculine guy. It's like, no, I'm playing this game for, like, you know, 80 hours or whatever. I'm running around the wilderness. I'd rather just look at some nice, nice legs. Personally. Oh, shit. Okay, fucking focus. Ugh. I'm better than this. I'm just trying to talk a little bit. What the? I'll get this. I didn't expect this tough of a fight out here in the wilderness, but we're winding down here. Hold on, I want to paralyze you. There you go. See, he's alive. I didn't kill the bear. Isn't that nice? I don't need to kill him. What do I care? I think that's all I need to say about Assassin's Creed. It's a good game. You know, if you didn't care for the gameplay mechanics of the earlier ones, you might want to take another look at the series. It kind of reminds me a bit of Breath of the Wild, a little bit of like The Witcher sort of style now. It's definitely way less linear, and there's a lot to do. There's some fun stuff some fun stuff to do. My only other complaint might be the actual combat mechanics. I don't know. Sometimes the lock-on can be a little wonky, and hit detect. I don't know. It doesn't feel as perfect as maybe I wanted to. Maybe I should have gone with full bow stuff, and then I could have had it like be like Horizon Zero Dawn. But I don't know. The other thing that I was playing this week while waiting for this game to come out was Skyrim, believe it or not. I was just sitting around looking for something to do. And I was like, you know, I'm just gonna sit here and mod Skyrim because I always like modding it. That's fun. And so I modded it. It took me, gosh, I'm gonna say like, I don't know, 12 hours or something like that. I didn't count. It actually took me a couple times. I modded it all the way through. I thought I liked it, but then it was pretty unstable and there were some issues. So I deleted everything and restarted, remodded it. And then I got it to where it was pretty good. It was pretty stable. I liked everything. I was happy. And then I was playing it, and then this game came out, and I was like, well, now we're moving on. So I've actually, you know, I've been thinking about playing that while I've been playing this. But this is the current hotness, and I'm enjoying it, so I'll stick with it. Alright, moving on then. Now that we've talked about this for way too long. On to the exploring series. This week I published... The fuck did I put out? 1730? Was that... I have to check now. I've just been doing so much. I've been doing so much. It sort of gets muddled in my head what I actually last put out. Yeah, it was 1730. So yeah, that was the big daddy. 39 minutes of video. And it did pretty well for itself. It's at 113,000 views right now in a week, in 6 days. And people seem to really enjoy it. They thought I did a good job, so I'm happy to hear that. Kick that bear. Just fucking stomp on the side of his head. Oh, God. Yeah, you know, playing this game, it seems like, oh, I could probably kill a bear. Look at that. They're very clumsy. But no, I don't think I could. How did that miss? Stupid bear. Alpha animal. I'm the only alpha animal around here. So yeah, that was good. You know, there was a lot of work put together that video and summarize everything. And I was really worried that it was just like, this is over summarized. This is just, I'm cutting out so many details. I don't even know if this is going to be coherent or anything. I have no idea. But it seems like I did the job. So that was good. Then on Thursday I published the 2998, the anomalous transmission. Again, sort of confusing. Not sure if I did a good job. It seems I did okay. It's just the fact that do one shot a bear. It's incredible. It seems the issue is just not many people are interested. It's sort of a phenomenon that I've discovered over the last couple years of doing these videos, is people don't really want to learn new stuff. Some people do. Some people go there and they're like, wow, I've never heard of this before. This is completely new to me. Thanks. You know, this was new stuff. And then, you know, most people are like, I know everything about this subject. Why did you forget to mention this? Clearly, I know everything about this. That's why I'm talking about this. But why did you forget to mention this? This thing that I know about. And it's like, if you already know everything... I just can't relate. I tend to watch stuff that I don't know anything about. Unless I'm rewatching something. Which I do a lot. I do rewatch a lot of stuff. But that's not the case. I don't know. I just don't go watch videos on stuff that I'm familiar with. Because I assume the point of these videos is educational. But if you already know everything, what is the benefit? And so, you know, here's a video, it's like, that nobody that follows, you know, SCP YouTubes knows anything about, because there are no YouTube videos about it. And, gets far less views than like 093, which everyone has covered. And everyone has talked about and knows about. I mean, there's also, like, the YouTube algorithm at work that I just, you know, no one understands, but I don't know. It's just... It's a little annoying at times because you have no idea... No, that's a false statement. You have an idea of what's going to be popular, but... it's not the stuff that I want to be popular. Like, if I made a video on SCP 682, you know, the big unkillable lizard, that would probably be massively popular. Because it is just, for some reason, people just fucking love it. I think it might be in, like, one of the popular games. I don't know. But I get requests all the time for it. And I hate it. That's like one of my least favorite SCPs. It's just so uninteresting. But I know if I made it, people would love it and they would watch it. It would get, you know, tens of thousands of views. And there you'd have it. But then I'll make a video that's, you know, really fresh and an SCP that's not well known. That's really good, and it won't get that many views. You know, it's just following what's popular. So, I think I sort of just have to compromise. I have to do the stuff that's really popular just to get the views, and then do the stuff that's unknown just because it's interesting. And the people that do watch it, you know, will enjoy it. But it's not like any video I put out is going to get hundreds of thousands of views. Because they're not all created equal in the eyes of the public. I don't know. It's just sort of tough for me to figure out because I can't really relate. I don't watch any videos about SCP. Because I just read stuff. So I just don't know what people will click on and what they won't click on. I don't know what YouTube will recommend and what it won't recommend. It just is a mysterious system. But this week I worked on SCP-610, which is certainly a pretty popular SCP. From the old days. I think it'll be a pretty big video. It was very disgusting to work on because you got all these like deformed humans and mottled flesh and just it was just kind of nasty. I hope it's the most disgusting video I ever work on because that would be good. So it's a lengthy video, like 21 minutes. Which is fine. And should be good. And then... I also... You just... What the hell is that? What is this? Oh, is that a wolf? Why is a bear fighting a wolf? Why is a wolf fighting a bear one-on-one? And so I worked on a video for zombies. Originally, I was going to do witches. I had settled on witches. I liked witches. It was all going to be witches. But then I started looking into witches, and I was like, this was on Saturday. So this was yesterday. And I had been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed. I wanted to play more Assassin's Creed. I didn't really want to work on a video, but I knew I have to keep going. But I looked over all the witches stuff, and I was like, fuck. Now, what I could have done, there's a lot. There's a lot to witches. Because really, when you're discussing witches, you're not just talking about witches. You're talking about, you know, shamanism and sorcery and belief in magic and other, you know, worldly forces and, you know, all that sort of stuff. The witch's belief system that extends beyond just witches for thousands of years. It's a big topic. To sort of get to the more modern era of witches, you gotta talk about a lot of stuff. And
I am the one who...
You?
Yeah, you gonna fight me? No. There will probably be repercussions for that. So what I could have done is just do, like, the Salem witch trials. That's a very narrow topic. Well, not very, but more narrow. That...
I don't need any payment. I'm just glad...
You are too kind, Mister.
You two have fun, but not too much fun.
I could certainly cover in a fairly short video that would be interesting to me. Probably not that many people, but interesting to me. And it would be, you know, simple and done. But I was like, I didn't even think of it, really. I just pivoted straight to zombies, because that was the other topic that I was thinking of. Alright, zombies. That'll be quicker, that'll be easier. I'll just do zombies. So I began my zombie work, and it ended up being not that easy, but I think easier. Because when you're talking about zombies, there are plenty of cultures throughout the world, throughout history, that have believed in the undead returning. And if you watch my, like, vampire video, you probably got a pretty good idea of that. Really, like, every civilization has had myths about the undead coming back in some form. Whether they drink blood, or they just sort of wander around, or they protect something, or they're for revenge, you know, who knows? There's all sorts of stuff like that. So I sort of mentioned that a little bit. Shit, this was a main quest thing. I wanted to avoid this.
I'm going inside.
Best not.
I don't know if I can back out of this.
How do I look?
Probably not. So if you're really worried about main quest stuff for Odyssey,
Fine.
I don't know. Don't watch. You're probably not watching anyways. So I sort of skimmed over that stuff, because really when you're talking about zombies, what you really want to talk about, as far as the history of zombies, is Haiti. And voodoo, and the history of the Haitian zombie. And I had known that zombies originated sort of in Haiti, and the voodoo religion sort of involved zombieism in some way. But I knew very little. I'm certainly not an expert now, but I know a little bit more. And that was pretty much the most interesting part, was looking into how this concept of a zombie developed in Haiti. How it was sort of brought over from Africa by slaves. And how they sort of believe in, like, two different types of zombies. Because they believe in either, like, this sort of dualism of the soul. Where you can have, you know, a person either has two souls or two halves of a soul, either way. Two different types of soul. One controls, like, the physical aspects of your body, and then the other controls your mental aspects. It's like your personality and your willpower and stuff like that. And so a person that has one but not the other can be taken and controlled as sort of a zombie. So a person's, like, mental aspect soul, they call it like a little good angel, and a little big angel, or something like that, or a big good angel. So like a witch doctor, a bokor, can take a person's mental soul and, like, trap it and utilize it. But also, if somebody is like, their body is there, but their soul is kind of trapped, a bokor can also take their body and utilize their body as, like, a physical slave that has no mental aspects. So both halves can be utilized by a bokor. But then it's sort of getting muddled, and you know, obviously when I'm doing these videos, I'm making this video in, like, 2 days. So maybe it's like, okay, if you're not going to go full on and do all the research and stuff, why make the video? Because really, I should be reading, like, books about voodoo and Haiti and all these beliefs and, you know, these systems and how this all works. I should have full knowledge of this so I can really explain it. But I'm not. You know, I'm working off the internet in 2 days trying to put this together. And so it's like, you know, maybe it's really properly explained and understood what Haitians, you know, voodoo practitioners believe as far as how a bokor takes over somebody's body and you know, controls it. But aside from, like, the whole drug concoction method, which is the more widely known one, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I think, you know, I just like putting these videos together for my personal thing. You know, I like doing the research that I can in a time frame and just expanding my understanding of it. So, you know, I'm not submitting this anywhere or anything like that. There are probably videos on the internet that far better explain Haitian zombies than this one. So I'm just putting out what I want to put out. And yeah, it's definitely lacking in details, but it's short. So, you know, the Haitian zombie thing really became popular because a book in 1929 by this guy who, like, this guy was just a pretty crazy guy. He, like, partied with Aleister Crowley and stuff. And he visited West Africa for a while. He hung out with some, like, cannibalistic tribes. And he wanted to, like, eat some human meat with them. He was like, hey, you know, pass that leg over here. And they said no. They denied him. Because, you know, it's like this crazy fucking white guy comes here and wants to eat human with us? Hell no. And so they denied him, and I guess he really wanted to. So he went to, like, a local hospital, and somehow he got human flesh. Like human samples or something. I don't know what he got. And I don't know how he got it, but he got it. And he went home and he cooked it. So he could try it. Because the idea intrigued him so much. So that's nice. So I like, on his Wikipedia page, his name was William Seabrook, and it's like, William Seabrook was an occultist, explorer, traveler, cannibal, author. Like, once you eat human meat, you know, then your list of occupations and stuff, it has to include the word cannibal. Well, I mean, if you tell people, I guess. So yeah, he wrote a book which talked all about Haiti and voodoo and stuff, and then that became super popular in America, and well, not super popular, but you know, popular enough. And so then in 1932, they made a film called White Zombie, starring Bela Lugosi, based on Haitian zombies. And I actually watched the movie, believe it or not. I didn't think I would, but it intrigued me. And so I actually watched the movie. It wasn't that bad. I thought it was better than Dracula. I think maybe because I was more interested in the theme, the material. Because I had just done all this reading about Haitian zombies and stuff. But it wasn't terrible. I don't know if I'd recommend it. But maybe. It's interesting to see Haitian zombies. You know, use of the word zombies in a movie in 1932. It's crazy. And so then there was a bunch of other zombie movies, but they all involved these very mindless, listless zombies that just followed commands and didn't do anything on their own. And that went on for decades until, of course, Night of the Living Dead. So yeah, about half the video is sort of talking about the history of zombies and the Haitian zombie and stuff. And then the second half is talking about zombie media. White Zombie, Night of the Living Dead, you know, George Romero, Return of the Living Dead, sort of the dead period in the 80s and 90s where zombies just were not that big of a deal, and then the resurgence in the 2000s, the Dawn of the Dead remake, Zombieland, of course The Walking Dead, The Last of Us, so on and so forth. George Romero actually says that video games are more responsible for zombies becoming so popular than more responsible than movies, which could be because zombies are used all over the place in video games. They're a big part of video games. I mean, games without zombies, that would be crazy. Yeah, so that video will be going public on Thursday. And I don't know if people enjoy it or not, but I enjoyed putting it together, so that's what matters. I'm sure I'll get all sorts of comments like, is SCP done? What is, oh no, what is this shit? You didn't cover SCP, blah blah blah, what the hell?
Letters to and from the cult. Gods, they have
Oh well.
told in every part of the Greek world.
Speaking of zombies and horror and White Zombie and all that, I've been watching, of course, a bunch of horror movies since October started. It's only been a week, but I've watched a fair number. Of course, I repeat. I watch a lot of the same movies I watch pretty much every year. Hold on. Let me bring up my movie list here. What have I watched so far? Okay, so I rewatched Alien Covenant. For some reason, I just like that one. I like it more than Prometheus. It's just sort of a gory alien movie. And I really like Michael Fassbender as an android. So I don't know, I like it. I rewatched Don't Breathe. That's a very good one. That's one of those despair movies, you know, where it's more just despair and like, oh my god, is this never gonna end? Is this tragedy, horror never gonna end? Than just straight up like horror and jump scares and stuff like that. I think those movies tend to be really just prime examples for the horror genre, but they are not like popcorn horror movies where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch a horror movie, I'm gonna watch this one. Just a feel good time. Because there are horror movies that are just, you pop on and it's just like, this is ridiculous. It's not scary at all. It's just fun to watch. Like I rewatched Dead Silence from 2007. That was James Wan and Leigh Whannell. After they did Saw, they did Dead Silence. Because it also featured a creepy doll. And that's, I guess, what they were known for. And I think Leigh Whannell, like, really just hated big studios after Dead Silence. I don't know what they did to him or his script or something, but he had big problems with them after that movie. And it's not an incredible movie, but it's just so stupid and over the top and ridiculous. I consider that just a popcorn horror movie. And it was written by Leigh Whannell, who is the more talented of the two. I'm not a huge big fan of James Wan. What else? Oh, I rewatched House of Wax. My God, House of Wax. If you want to talk about a popcorn horror movie, that is it. I mean, you got a horror movie with Paris Hilton in it. How does it get more popcorny than that? I've seen this movie a few times now. It is just a perfect mid-2000s just shit horror movie. Like, you got Paris Hilton in there, Alicia Cuthbert, I never remember. The end credits have My Chemical Romance playing over them. I mean, it's just, you don't get more just generic popcorny horror than House of Wax. It's amazing. I rewatched Lights Out, which is a movie that came out a couple of years ago and was like did very well at the box office. Well, not, pretty well. It got good reviews, and I watched it once and I was like, I don't really see it. But I gave it a rewatch. It's not a bad movie. It's just, I don't know why people are like rallying around this Lights Out movie. It reminds me kind of Darkness Falls, which is a very shit movie that probably very few people have seen. But apparently they're working on a sequel. Oh, and the other thing, the guy that directed Lights Out, I know eventually we'll get to roll manging, and I know we stopped playing anything, but just bear with me. It's October. The guy that directed Lights Out is directing the Shazam movie. And he said that, I guess, the universe that Lights Out takes place in is the same one that Shazam takes place in. And I guess there is some sort of reference that he put in Shazam that references Lights Out in some way. I don't know. We'll see. That is bonkers. That might be a first when a big budget superhero movie is in the same universe as a horror film. We'll see. I also watched a couple documentaries, because one of my favorite parts of October is watching, of course, Scariest Places on Earth. I mentioned this last time. I just love that show because it's so completely over the top. Everybody is just like 100% believers in all this, these paranormal. And Alan Robson, who's like a British paranormal talk radio show host or something, he's just so ridiculously over the top. It's amazing. Just the entire production is just over the top. Which is great, because I figure if you're going to have all these people come on here and talk about paranormal places and events, I want them to be as over the top as possible. But also I like that it's not, they go all over the world and show off different places. And they also talk about, like, the history of these places. Specifically, often in relation to, like, the paranormal. But I kind of really like that aspect of, like, of not just having people be like, like Ghost Adventure or some shit where they're just like, wandering through and taking like their EVPs or whatever it's called, where they're using their gadget, like, oh, see those orbs over there? That means there's 30 billion ghosts here. And it's just like, I don't care about any of that. And, when you're talking about like the paranormal history of a place, though, and like what makes this place haunted, that's more interesting to me. And I like that aspect of Scariest Places on Earth. So I'm really curious if there's any other good shows that talk about like the actual paranormal histories in depth of different places. But I was looking at documentaries, and so I saw a couple that were kind of interesting. They're both made by the same couple of people. The first one was called Cropsey, which is this guy and this girl. They grew up near each other, I guess, or something like that. And they both heard this urban legend about this guy named Cropsey who like abducted children. And they always just thought it was just an urban legend. But then they grew up and they found it's actually based on a real guy. Like, the urban legend stemmed from this real guy that did abduct children. And so the documentary is, like, looking at this guy and, like, his story and stuff like that. And so it shows, like, a lot of shots of this creepy, like, abandoned asylum from where they grew up, that like that's where Cropsey lives and stuff like that. And it was really pretty interesting. It wasn't that scary or anything, but it was interesting. And so then they did another one called Killer Legends, which was based on different urban legends and like the true stories behind them and how they developed into urban legends, which is really interesting. So those were both pretty solid. I enjoyed watching them. I watched The Ring 2. God, I do not recommend The Ring 2, but it was funny to me because the other day we went and watched Venom, and I'm not going to spoil Venom. If I had more time, I would talk about it in more detail. I didn't think it was that great. It had its moments. The interactions between Eddie Brock and Venom were probably the best part, but the rest of it really felt like a mid-2000s superhero movie, like X-Men: The Last Stand. That's kind of what it felt like. But, we walked out of the theater and Ziggy was, talking. He was like, oh, it was pretty good. And, Ziggy seems to be very nice to movies. He's much kinder to movies than I am. And I used to love everything. But it seems nowadays I hate on a lot of movies we see. And so I was sort of trashing Venom and stuff. But then I go home and I sit down and I voluntarily watch The Ring 2. So, I don't know. I'm all fucked up. I'm not even that huge of a fan of The Ring. I think it's alright. But there are a lot better horror movies than that. And The Ring 2 is just... It was not well received when it came out, and I had never seen it. I was like, I don't even know what... I don't know what compelled me. But I sat down, I watched The Ring 2, and it was not very good. End of story. I also rewatched The Thing. Of course, I'm referring to the 2011 prequel. I will rewatch the OG Kurt Russell Thing, because that's an amazing movie. Don't get me wrong. But I had only seen the prequel once, and it stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and that alone is enough for me to rewatch it. That's it. So I gave it a rewatch. And she's good. I like her. I also like that it's, they have all these Norwegian actors. I don't know if they're all Norwegian, but it seems like they're all Norwegian. And that's pretty cool. Because it's not often you get to see a movie with Norwegian actors in a Norwegian setting or anything like that. It's not a Norwegian setting, but... like, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is like one of the only Americans there, and so I like that aspect of it where it's like there's that language barrier, because a bunch of them do speak English, but then there are the ones that only speak whatever their language is. I don't know. So that language barrier adds to that whole mistrust between the different individuals as this thing, spreads. And overall, it's really just like a remake. You know, I know it's a prequel, and yeah, the events shown largely are, you know, a prequel to the Kurt Russell version, John Carpenter, but things that play out, it's almost identical to just a remake where they test the blood and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's really... So because of that, there's no reason really to ever watch it compared to the John Carpenter one. But I did rewatch it for Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and it's not terrible. Lastly, the last thing I want to talk about, I watched Unfriended Dark Web. This is the sequel to Unfriended, which was a kind of unique movie because it was filmed like entirely using like a computer, and so using like the computer screen and the webcams and stuff like that. So it was a really sort of almost very, very confined movie, which is interesting. But it just, like, the supernatural aspects were just really just lame and kind of bullshit. And so they came out with a sequel, which I was surprised, but they came out with a sequel, and lo and behold, they abandoned all the supernatural aspects. And now you've got something interesting. And let me tell you, this sequel is far better than the original. That doesn't happen too often, but if you've never seen either one, you never need to watch the first one. Just skip it. But if you like horror movies, maybe check out the sequel. Because it definitely does some really interesting, unique things you're not going to find in other horror movies. It's still confined to like computer screens and webcams and stuff like that. And it's still sort of focused on like a Skype call. But the plot is very interesting. And some of the kills, the way the kills are done, pretty damn unique. Because you'd think, like, this is, you have this Skype call. The entire movie has to sort of take place during a Skype call. I'm telling you, it had, like, the Skype call cannot end. For whatever reason, I'm not going to tell you. For whatever reason, it can't end. So the whole movie has to revolve around this Skype call. But you have to kill people off throughout the film. And so there's a couple of things really were interesting. I'd recommend it. All right, so that's that. The last thing that I want to talk about then is role-Mangg, and of course we did character creation for the Icons campaign. We had the whole crew there, which was nice. And they were like, oh, so after we do character gen, we can play a board game, whatever game, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's going to take a while. We're going to be here for quite a while for all these character creations, because you're sort of doing them one by one. So yeah, it's largely pretty random, which is good or bad, depending on your thoughts on random character creation and random power selection. It's kind of like picture D&D, but your character class is randomly decided for you. Some people would have no problem with that and would find that pretty interesting, but some people might really be annoyed by that. It's a little bit different because it's not like well, sort of. It's sort of less pigeonholing, because it's not like if I hate melee combat in games and I'm playing D&D and my random class is a fighter, that's probably pretty annoying. Like, you're just not going to want to play. Whereas in Icons, you'll get rolled a few different powers, and you can you have some leeway. You can throw away some powers to boost some other powers, but yeah, not being able to select your power, some people might have a real problem with that. But, we rolled with it.
Hand it to me.
So I'm not gonna go over everybody's character. I think we'll try and summarize everybody's character at the start of the next session. But I'll just talk about mine. So I got affliction, which, like, you touch somebody and you basically drain their health. You, like, drain their health a bunch, and if they have no health, then you can, like, drain their strength or something like that. Like, it's basically just like a drain, but you don't get anything from it. And it's done by touch. I also got force field, which creates a force field, obviously. I got stretching, which allows you to stretch your body and limbs and stuff like Mr. Fantastic. And I got mental blast, which allows you to blast people with mental energy. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit all over the place. Stretching, of course, is not something I would probably ever personally pick, but I'll roll with it. And so in the end, I decided to nix force field and mental blast. Reason for this was I was looking at the extras, the augments or whatever for affliction, and I saw that one of them was aging. So you can change your touch. So instead of just draining their health or something, it causes them to age up or down. You have to pick one. And so I was like, okay, I could, you can cause a person to age a bunch, but that seems kind of lame and generic. So what about a de-aging? That could be very interesting. And so that's what I picked. I made my touch cause people to grow rapidly younger. Like, instantly. They instantly de-age, which sounds really painful. It's probably not a pleasant experience. And I boosted my affliction number, my level, really high. So basically, if I touch somebody, and I think they resist it with strength, but if they're not strong, they will get very, very young. And we figured that if, you age to, like, 0, you're like a fetus. You're like a zygote. You are nothing. You're an egg. You don't exist anymore. So yeah, it's certainly deadly. Because I don't exactly have fine control over it. It's not like I can touch somebody and I can see, like, their years ticking down. I'm like, okay, you're good. No, as soon as I touch them, they de-age, like, 20 years or something like that. And, like, every second I'm touching them, it's just whoosh, whoosh. And because it's a test based on their strength, it's, like, entirely random almost every time I touch them. So it's a little unpredictable. But I decided I'm just going to use my stretching and my de-aging. And so I'll be able to just stretch all over the place. And as long as I can touch somebody with, like, a fingertip, I can just zap them down to, like, a baby. So, especially because I have, like, a specialization in stealth. So I can just, my fingers can just be, like, sneaking through a vent or something into this facility. I'm just turning everybody into babies. And so I decided that my character is a billionaire. Because he has a de-aging clinic where really rich old people come to me and I de-age them for millions of dollars. And they become, like teenagers, hopefully. It's not a fine science, so they might end up as toddlers or something. And sometimes they might just die. But, it's not a perfect science, but a lot of times it's pretty good because they have a lot of years to give, so there's plenty of leeway there. And so they get a young body, but they have all their old, minds. Which really isn't a good thing, because I think the brain eventually just deteriorates. I don't know if I'm actually de-aging their brain or not. But, I don't know. Fine details have to be worked out. They have to sign a big waiver. But ideally, they have some memory and cognitive ability of an adult in a young body. And so it's, that's a good thing. Rich old people love that. So I'm a billionaire because of this business, but I'm also like a very public superhero. Like people know that I'm using super abilities to do this, and bad guys know who I am. So I'm a target. And so we decided my superhero name was Epoch, but spelled kind of like Tupac, but Epoch. And my nemesis is Father Time, who has the opposite ability. He makes people old. And so he runs a much less lucrative business with like teenagers and stuff who want to be adults. He takes like their lunch money or something, and he makes them much older so that they can buy alcohol legally or something. So that's my nemesis. And yeah, so I figured, you know, my guy is kind of Tony Stark-esque. He's mainly interested in money, but he's going to fight crime because he enjoys it. And, you know, he doesn't mind helping out the good guys. But, you know, if there's some money to be made in the process, why not? You know, if we raid, like, some crack den, or not a crack den, like a drug operation where they're cooking meth and all that. You know, why do we need to turn all this equipment and materials over to the authorities? We can take this and sell it. So, you know, we're good guys. We're not evil. But we're not like Captain America. La-di-da. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. You know, Icons campaigns, I never picture them going for more than like 5 sessions. Things are just kind of explode and fall apart and we'll die or something like that, but we'll see how it goes. We should have some laughs along the way. Yeah, that's kind of it. Hopefully our first session is tomorrow. At some point later this month, during October, I'm hoping to run a Dread session. For those of you that have followed the channel, you know, every year I've ran a Dread session with the Jenga Tower and the horror scenario. So originally Ziggy was going to do one, but I guess he got lazy. So it's going to be up to me again to run another one. I'm thinking of running like an SCP one, because that's what I'm into right now. It's just kind of hard to think about a perfect SCP to utilize for a group of like average Joes to run into, where they would be sort of isolated and somewhat trapped. Like it wouldn't be easy for them to just get away and haha, but something that wouldn't just be like, you're dead, you're all dead, hey, you're dead. So that sort of fine line where it's like, it's dangerous, it could kill them, but they have a chance. You know, they have a chance. That's the thing. So I don't know. If anyone with info, knowledge of SCP has an idea of what to use, please let me know. I'm really not sure. If I can't find one by the time we run it, I'm just going to do like the Thing-based one, where they're at an Arctic research station or whatever, and I pretty much tell them straight out, like, this is the Thing. One of you is infected, and I hand out like pieces of paper that tells them one of them is infected. You all want to get the hell out of here, but you can't let the Thing leave. Like, if you do, you all lose. And so there'd be like a helicopter there or something, you know, like some vehicles there. And, you know, I would basically be depending on them to not just be like, fuck it, let's just go. And let the Thing leave. You know, you want to try to win. You want to try to figure out who's the Thing. And I'm not exactly sure how it would work, because it's like, okay, well, when someone dies, I guess whenever anybody would die, I would hand out pieces of paper to tell them if they were the Thing or not. It's sort of guaranteeing that, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how that would work either. Because you don't want to just copy the movies. I don't want it to be like, no matter what, it's going to be down to one survivor. Because the Thing is always going to be there. Like, it has to be winnable. But the Thing, there's only one Thing, right? So only one person is the Thing, and if they die, I don't know. I'm not sure. I might modify this situation a little bit. It might not be exactly the thing. It might be something similar that could infect people. So there could be multiple of them. That might be a little bit better instead of just having one single thing. So then, if you die, you can still participate because you're like an infected, but not like a zombie. Like you have all your cognitive abilities, but your mind is sort of unchanged. I don't know. I'll see, but I'd prefer to go with an SCP one if I can find one. But all right, that's about it. So check out the SCP-610 video tomorrow. Do not eat your lunch while you're watching it unless you have a strong stomach. And we've got the zombie video later this week. We've got more Final Fantasy IX coming your way, as well as Doom 2. And in the next couple weeks, at some point, I'm going to put together a video where I talk all about the Hulk. Because I've been reading a shit ton of Hulk comics. And so I'd really like to sort of chronicle my journey from the start of the Hulk comics to the modern day. And I'm nowhere near close to that, but it's going to be multiple parts as I go through it. So the first part would be like 1960-something to 1975. And I've taken a lot of screenshots of my journey through the comics, so it should be a pretty interesting, fun time. So that'll happen sometime in the next couple of weeks. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg, and I'll see you fine folks next week.